What is up, you guys? We are here for our weekly anchor message. I did not get my video done before work today. I was rushing through the day. I, got a lot done. I was proud of myself, but I didn't quite get finished before I had to leave for work. So, better luck tomorrow. So we are in the middle of eclipse season. I believe next week is our full moon. So we're right in the middle of it. It feels like a lot of stuff is starting to move and shift. And if you guys feel anything like me, I feel the heat of the summer is heavy. The amount of humidity in the South right now is oppressive. It feels like even the physicality of the space that we're in is reflecting the pressure of eclipse season. It feels like, I don't know, one of those Southern Gothic dramas where everybody is just like sweating through their linen. Everybody's got like sweat stains and there's some drama happening. It feels like that right now to me for sure. So I'm feeling a little bit like tired, like a caged animal who's aggravated and ready to like snap. I'm definitely looking forward to my days off this week. I just need some decompression time, and I need some time to get some concentrated work done on the TikTok account, get that going strong. So prayers, guys, but we're hanging in there, and I think big things are shifting and changing. So from the wild unknown archetype, we have the Father, followed by the Sustainer, followed by the Pilgrim, underneath Father, we have Four of Swords. What a welcome sight this card is. This is exactly what I need right now. Underneath Sustainer, we have the Devil. And underneath the Pilgrim, we have the Chariot. So we're also in the month of Elul. This is the month of Teshuvah. During this month, we need to try to look at life through the eyes of mercy versus judgment. I am personally the Larry David in my life. If I don't have a Larry David in my life, I default. So all day long, I go back and forth between, understanding and it's all good, and then like absolute lunatic, like steam coming out of my ears, like fire breathing out of them, so it's a struggle. It's back and forth, and which reminds me, oh my gosh, so you guys know our weekend messages always end up tying in to the Torah portion of the week, and I remember talking about the sorrow card last night. And this morning's Zohar lesson, my teacher was talking about how there's this feeling of sorrow during like maybe the month of Elul, and it's a sign that our soul is torn between our good inclination and the evil inclination. And if we weren't torn between the two, then we wouldn't feel the disruption, the sorrow. So it's like the sorrow is coming from our soul that wants to be led in this path of revealing more light and becoming more like the Creator, and leaning into our higher consciousness and our higher inclination. Whereas the body consciousness wants to pull us into the evil inclination, the selfish inclination, the inclination of the ego, the flesh. And so the juxtaposition or the contrast of the two, the paradox of the two, keeps us in this state of like, turmoil, because we want to be in alignment, right, with the right consciousness and the right actions and the right heart. But so many times we slip into the other, and then we're pained by it. So that's a good sign, actually. So it's almost positive sorrow that says, hey, at least you're not a cold sociopath who doesn't care at all, right? So that's positive. But yeah, so the month of Teshuvah is all about repentance. And the word repentance is very triggering for a lot of people, because in mainstream Christianity and mainstream religion in general, repentance has been weighed down with like the judgy connotation of sin and guilt and shame and all kinds of disempowering and lower vibrational feelings. But really, repentance is about getting back on track. It's about realigning with the path. It's more about finding your vibrational resonance with your true, authentic self again, and connecting with the soul. It's like our consciousness and our body has been disconnected from our soul and our spirit. And it's like finding the ways to reunite those things back into wholeness, back and from a fragmented state into a whole state. And so the ways that we do that, we go into a self-inventory. We look at our year, and we think about those moments where we were reactive and we had these short circuits, and what were the bad habits? What were those things that were wasting our light and we knew it, right? I know none of us can have a get out of jail free card when it comes to evil tongue. We all do it. We all have evil eye, and that takes a lot of our battery. And so we think back, okay, and then, when was I impatient? When was I judgmental? When was I overcritical? When was I could have been more understanding? When should I have spoken up? When I shied away and didn't want to rock the boat? When did I need to bite my tongue and practice more self-control, where I flew off the handle? Where have I created more separation and distance? And how can I instead repair that and bring more unity, right? So we're looking at the things that we want to correct and make up for. And that might include, having a talk with someone. It's kind of like you follow what you need to do. It may be, doing that work through a soul-to-soul conversation, within and through prayer meditation, or might be a physical talk. But you'll know what's right for your situation. But we offer our apology, we ask for forgiveness, and we try to make right what we've wronged. So the month of Teshuvah, the month of repentance, isn't just, oh, I've been so bad, please forgive me, I need to be better. It's really taking ownership and being proactive, because we know the benefit of wholeness, and we know how awful it feels and how disempowering it is to be fragmented. So it's actually a joyous process, right? And after the 3 negative weeks, Teshuvah is simple, right? All we have to do is get over our ego in Teshuvah. But that's the hardest thing, right? Sometimes is just to get over the ego, to swallow that pill that's hard to swallow. But it's such a relief once you do it, right? It's the dread, the buildup that is the hardest part. And once you face that fear, it's such a relief. It's like, oh man, it brings such a sense of peace. So let's listen to the audio, and then we'll be right back. Right smack in the middle of the eclipse portal, and already so much has begun to shift. Big progress has been made on the road to father healing, and as a result, our sustenance has the potential for increase. There has been a parallel with the father wound and material struggles, but now that the source of this disruption has been identified and addressed, things can begin to turn around. The key will be to always remember who the true father is, the true sustainer, not the material vessel of that light, whether it be in the form of an earthly father, an income, boss, or mentor. The ultimate source is the creator. The key to true success and fulfillment will be to anchor our hearts and minds and actions in love, sharing, and in service as a channel of the light of the Creator in this world. The ultimate way to succeed is to show up in every act as if it is sacred, as if each act is a living prayer and devotion. Okay, so we've got the Father card here with the Four of Swords. So we just had our solar eclipse, and the solar eclipses are connected with the Father, and the lunar eclipses are connected with the Mother. And so if you may have even had an inciting incident around the eclipse that had to do with you and your father's relationship. Maybe he reached out. Maybe you tried to reach out. I certainly had this exact literal situation play out. And so there might be opportunities during this portal to make progress with your relationship with your father. Not one person alive comes out without having a mother wound and a father wound. These are archetypal, universal human experiences. So when we're talking about this, we're not like, I thought I had something on my lip, but it's just color hitting the light. So everyone has like mother-father wounds, and we're not talking about this because we're trying to blame and like drag our parents through the dirt. It's just that it's something that we all have to deal with so that we can unpack what was projected on us and get back to our authentic self. And so not only does the father wound or the mother wound have to do with our literal direct relationship with that person, but it also affects our relationship to that role and that archetype within life, whether or not we can take on those roles, how we feel about fatherhood, how we feel about motherhood, how we look at mothers and fathers, like how we, and it does also bring up our own personal relationships with those parents as well. And each parent has an effect on different aspects of our life in different categories. So it's like there's so much that can go wrong if these relationships have unresolved issues that still have like open, painful wounds attached to them, and like ongoing thought loops and things. You may never be able to have the relationship that you dream of with your parents, right? But you can certainly work on how you view them and how you feel about the situation as a whole, and find more peace with it. So I do feel like there is a great potential for deep father healing that will bring a lot of peace and rest. You might also just need literally physical rest. Like I was talking about earlier, I just feel like my battery is on so low, and I just I really need to decompress. In the service industry, like our business is slow during the summer, but it doesn't necessarily mean you work less. It just means you're like working almost harder because there's less people at work to share the load, but you're working these long hours and you're making less money. So it's just exhausting. You're just constantly bombarded with like people and like, so I need this. I need alone. I need quiet. I need stillness. And so you might literally just need to give yourself that replenishment. But also, I think there's a deeper inner rest that comes with the healing of the father wound. And I think this has a positive effect on the inflow of sustenance coming in. I think that the father wound has paralleled our capacity to channel through sustenance and abundance and material stability and security. And so that open wound has kept that situation in flux. But now there is like parallel potential to improve our material situation because we have taken care of the root cause of the infection, which is the father wound, right? So it's like we had a father wound. Like, remember the movie The Beach? And the Scandinavian diver gets attacked by a shark, and he has like his leg is like chewed off, and they're trying to keep the island secret, so they're not taking him to the mainland to get real medical care. And so he just slowly gets gangrene, and it like just starts rotting his leg, and then the whole situation devolves from there, and that's the end of paradise, and it's dystopia after that. Well, that is the father wound. The father wound is like the shark attack, right? But the resulting effects that it has on our life is like the gangrene that festers, that makes us have to go separate from the group. It isolates us from the fun and the celebration, and it sort of spoils everything. It just brings this dark cloud over our whole experience and the way that we perceive and see things and interact with things. So it does have an effect on our capacity to show up for ourselves consistently and be dependable with ourselves and have that kind of discipline, being able to follow through and have commitment. And so having this healing occur, it can have a great impact on exponential healing and growth and development and progress within our material world as well. So whenever there's potential for great light, that is when the Satan gathers around, because they want your light to spill out and they want to take it. Now I say they because there is a feminine Satan and there is a masculine Satan. The masculine Satan sets the initial trap to trick you into falling off the path or being reactive or doing something wayward or, God forbid, using the word sinful, right? But then what happens is, instead of just being like, you know what, I messed up, I'm not perfect, I'm going to try to do better, and I'm really remorseful, but I forgive myself, I'm going to move forward. That gets your light back, right? You're back on track. But what the feminine Satan does is like, no, we want to keep that light. We want double the light. We want light with interest. So what the feminine Satan does is she gets in your head and she gets in your heart. She starts whispering disempowering messages about how, oh yeah, you're such a failure. You're not enough. You're never going to be enough. You screwed up again. She gives you that negative self-talk, and it makes you feel shameful. It makes you feel afraid and not good enough. And so that stills double the light that the male Satan can steal. And the male Satan, tricks you into taking actions based on your desire for instant gratification or desire to appease the flesh, your desire to defend yourself or to, exalt yourself or to take for the self alone, to give with motive, whatever it is that is tricking you into the reactive behavior. But the feminine Satan, she makes you feel like shit. And she makes you feel like you didn't just do something shitty, but you are shitty. And so the potential here is that, think of like ants or like flies that like smell food and they're like, ooh, a barbecue, a picnic, and they just start swarming on everything. That's like when the Satan smells an opportunity coming. When the Satan sees, oh, they're resisting my negative seeds and they're overcoming their differences and they're starting to build harmony and they're healing and they're bringing togetherness in. So they're aligning with their higher potential, and the Satan's job is to prevent us from aligning our higher potential. The Satan provides the resistance that makes us stronger, that gives us that almost like competition, like in a sports, in a game, right? You need that opposing force to make you better. And so the Satan is like, oh, okay, there's healing. Now there's probably going to be an opportunity, and I'm going to spoil this opportunity. And if I can't get them through their usual disempowering self-defeatism, then I'll find another way. And so the Satan will be like, you know what? Maybe I can make them obsessed, and they forget that God is the true source of the success. And so I'll get them all up in their head about strategy and trying to control everything, and they think that it's all theirs, and then the ego gets attached to it, and then when the success comes, they'll be like, this was me, I did this was my hard work, this is my achievement. And then they're going to take, and then they're going to start to be driven by the bottom line and what's going to be more successful, what's going to be more profitable, and they're going to lose their ethics and their virtue and their authenticity and their integrity because they want to get and they want to take and they want to get ahead, and it feels good. See, that voice starts getting in, and before you know it, you have companies that started off with good intentions, and then, hey, guess what? You can cut a corner and increase your profits by millions and millions and millions of dollars. The only thing is, it's gonna make people not the words. What is the word? Not fatally ill, mortally ill, but it will cause illness. It can lead to death, right? It's like Coca-Cola changed one of their ingredients. They changed the sugar to high fructose corn syrup, and it causes diabetes, it causes cancer. It's like I can't think of the word. I'm trying to find it. It's so tired, so dehydrated. But do you guys see what I'm getting at? It's like it gives you, it corrupts, right? Ultimate power, a little taste of, greed, it gets in, and it corrupts your mind, and it corrupts your heart. So we usually, that is kind of seated in fear. It's like somebody wants to get ahead and get ahead of the chaos and get control and hoard everything all they can, because they don't realize that God is the sustainer. Like, it can be turned on or turned off at any time, right? And so when we realize who's really sustaining us, who's the source of everything, all the fulfillment, all the money, even all of the challenge, all of the obstacles, it's all coming from the light of the Creator. So any success I get is coming from the light of the Creator. I have to do the things and be the channel, but ultimately I can do all those things, and if the Creator isn't willing, I'm ineffective, right? So the key is overcome the ego trip and the traps that the Satan is going to lay out to be tempting to ruin and spoil this good thing, right? So we're resisting that because we're focusing on the fact that God is the source, and that if I'm a good steward of the resources that I'm given, and I use that to amplify the light of the Creator and share more goodness into the world, then I'm going to be a trusted steward with resources, and I'm going to be given more, right? If I show that I can be an amplifier for the light, then I'm going to be given more to amplify with, right? If I don't do good things with that, and I hide the light under a bushel basket and I bury it in the ground and nothing moves, then nothing's going to come, because it's like you're a stagnant bottleneck of resources and energy, right? So when we focus on the fact that the light is in control, that God is the source of all that is, and that anything that's happening is like the will of God, that God has all the power in any situation, and we just want to align ourselves with that. Yes, the Satan is getting in there at every second and trying to set traps and mess with us and get in the way and ruin the stuff, but God is always there, sustaining, still, never changing. Here's the Satan bothering us, getting on our nerves like a fly. But this, when we anchor ourselves to this, the rock, this doesn't matter. It's insignificant. But the thing is that we never want to turn our back on this. Never underestimate. Like, we need to have a paradoxical understanding that, insignificant. I can, this is not going to overpower me. I will not fear this. But at the same time, we need to have a healthy respect and awareness that the second we turn our back, the second we sleep with both eyes closed, the second we let our guard down, the Satan is in the door. How are the flies at this time of year where you live? Because where I live in the South, about August, when, we're getting that late summer rain and it is humid and we've had the whole growing season, everybody's got their composts and things, like the flies are like a plague at this point of the year. And every restaurant, every house, no matter how diligent you are with cleanliness and trying to keep the door closed, the second you open the door to come in and like close it as fast as you can, 5 flies have gotten in. You're like, where do they even come from? How do they know? Were they just waiting? Why do they want to be inside so bad? That is exactly what the Satan is like. Fear is always crouching at the door. Sin is always crouching at the door, waiting for the slightest little crack, slightest little space to get in through our consciousness, slip, so be on it. That's why we have the pilgrim here and the chariot. So the pilgrim, when we consider the pilgrim approaches life or the journey. So a pilgrim is someone who goes, like a pilgrimage is when some people in a religious group or in a religious affiliation go on a journey for the sake of their beliefs. And it's an act of devotion and it's a spiritual journey. It's a physical journey attached to a spiritual journey. And look, we have the chariot, right? The chariot in the physical material world is about putting your energy into an aim and being focused and having balance to be able to sustain and create and build momentum through discipline and focus and endurance. And there's also the fact that like something inside of us, some spiritual wound has been healed, something has been corrected, something has been cleansed or purified. And so that is becoming the fuel that is driving the momentum, the building momentum in the chariot. Right. And then other people might notice too, and they might be sensing it. And, it's like when you have like a vibrational upgrade, like all of a sudden it's like no one knows why, but like you notice too, you're like, everyone seems to be very attracted or like I'm gaining attention. I don't know why, just generally speaking. Right. So that's the situation. And so we need to the more momentum we're going to build is going to be because we approached this journey like it is every act we're taking is an act of devotion, is an act of prayer. The whole thing is sacred. So whatever this venture is that we are embarking on and attaching it to the healing with the father, the parent healing, the mother stuff's probably going to come up in the next half. It is the more we can heal these things and the more we can do that spiritual work, but yet also put the work in the physical ways, hit it everywhere we can. We want to overwhelm the Satan. We want to overwhelm the darkness. We're going to give our maximum effort to our spiritual work. We're going to give, and that means like not only our study and our time doing like meditations and prayers and our rituals like that, but the effort it takes to get over something and let a grudge go, bring peace to a situation, forgive where it's difficult. Like all of those things are things that we need to do to propel our chariot. We need to make the physical material effort by showing up and taking the actions that we need to do to execute the plan. We need to show up for our physical bodies and nourish ourselves and take care of ourselves and feed and water ourselves and let ourselves sleep and clean ourselves and put clean clothes on and take care of the clothes that we have and dress ourselves well and put ourselves together well so that we are a beacon and an ambassador of the light of the Creator. We need to clean up our environment and be on top of things and stay on top of the affairs of our household so that our life isn't falling off the rails. And it's a lot to keep up with. And all of us have struggles trying to keep all of it together. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like little victories, right? But the little things add up. And so if we can come at it from every angle, spiritual, energetic, making good financial choices for ourselves, like every category of our life, if we can give it maximum effort, it's all going to, it's all connected and it all drives the chariot forward, right? We're mastering these things within ourselves, and that mastery is being represented here by the mastery it takes to handle and man the chariot. So that is all for tonight. I feel like there's a lot of really exciting potential this week. We just need to keep our consciousness and awareness in the right place, be aware of our opponent, give ourselves time to rest so that we're not reactive and snippy like I've been feeling like all night. Like I'm just like, I feel backed in a corner. I'm like, I need alone time. I need to recede into a cave and be a hermit for a minute. I want to read. For God's sake. I want to go on a retreat or something. Give me $1 million. Anybody, come on. I need to take a sabbatical. Yes, so give yourself a rest so you're not insane and foaming at the mouth like a rabid beast. And yes, and then continue on with healing. And this is not a one and done, right? This isn't like, oh, I had clarity and then I made plans with the dad, this happened, like my story playing out. And then that'll be it. And I'll have made peace with it and I'll have nice feelings from now on. It's not. It's like now that you have clarity, every time you go through that, the anger's coming up, the mourning of the parent that you didn't have is coming up, all of those things, the bewilderment of how they could think this way, or how could they do that after they raised you to not do that, all those things. Let the grief come up. Let yourself feel it. Don't deny it. Don't bottle it up. Because when we give ourselves permission to feel something, or if you give yourself permission to have yourself a way out, sometimes that resolves the situation, right? If I give myself permission to be, feel that anger and not deny it in myself, then I can feel it and it works its way out of me. And then I can work with that from there, working on compassion, working on moving towards compassion. But if I continue to deny my feelings and lie to myself, then that's only making more anger and more self-abandonment and more grief, right? So allow yourselves to go through the stages of grief. That's why people talk about it's not a linear process of like, and I got to this point and then I got off the train and now I'm off the grief train. It is a cycle. You go through a wave of resentment and anger and grief, and then you work your way through it and you finish with love. You finish with peace. You finish with wanting to move forward with a different perspective. And I think over time, that it's like the wound heals with like this spiritual physical therapy over time. You just keep working it out. You keep trying to move that tendon so that it's not stiff, that it doesn't get tight, that you get flexible again. All right, you guys. I feel good about that. We're ending on a good note. So I was letting you guys know yesterday that I've been kind of hinting around that I'm starting a new venture. And what that is, a few of you guys recently had asked me about like doing sort of behind the scenes stuff, more personal stuff in my life, maybe unboxing things or showing some of my favorite stuff, crystals, cards. And then somebody asked me why I didn't make shorts anymore. And it doesn't really help very much for YouTube because it's a long story, but it sort of started to affect my algorithm negatively because I was getting like different people watching my shorts than watched my videos. But the shorts people didn't watch the videos, but they subscribed. But then the videos people started watching the shorts and they stopped watching the videos, and it just started doing bad things for the channel. So I stopped doing the shorts and I didn't do my TikTok anymore because I didn't have a clear aim of what I wanted to do with it. So I got rid of TikTok a while back, but I just started a TikTok a couple of days ago because I want to do their creator affiliate program. Just as a professional venture that might generate some money where I don't necessarily have to monetize the spiritual content. And so I'm already good at making content. I already like talking about stuff that I love because I'm like a Libra rising. I've got tons of Venus in my chart, so I love stuff. Obviously, you can tell. So yeah, so that's going to be my fun social media platform where I'm just me. I'm just talking about my life and things that I do. There may be like occasional tarot readings, and there might be like general like advice and things like that. But generally it'll just be more casual and fun and spontaneous. And then I will also be doing like product reviews once I get into that affiliate program. But I need 1,000 subscribers to join. I did join one of these TikTok partners, so I'm in like a group kind of thing that is like group coaching and all that. So I'm really giving it my all, guys. I'm really trying. They have me doing these first 21 videos according to like their prompts, and the first few kind of have to really stick to their script. So it feels like me trying to put on like a normal person suit and pass as like a normal person. So it feels very cringe, these first few videos, but I think it's going to go well, or at least I hope it will. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. But if you are wanting to follow me over on TikTok for those reasons, just for fun and see what kinds of things I find, you can follow me at Elizabeth Rose Loves. Elizabeth Rose Loves, and you'll see my icon. It's like a black and white picture of my face, and I've got like, it's like collage. There's like a purple flower crown. But yeah, it'll be fun once I get past these first awkward videos. But you guys go follow me there. And if you're active on TikTok, if you're not, then do not follow me. If you aren't really, because then I have like, what happened before is that I got buried under the algorithms. Because I have like people that just follow me because they knew me, but they weren't really engaged with my content. And so the algorithm is like they don't understand what's happening when that happens. So if you're interested, follow. If not, no big deal. We'll just keep hanging out here. All right. That's all for tonight. I will see y'all tomorrow for our weekly manifestation oracle message. Until then, peace. Oh, also, Saturday night's Secret Teachings of Jesus episode is very good. There's some very heady and occult and esoteric parts of it, and readings from some very rare texts. So enjoy that. It's not as maybe approachable or accessible in a comprehensive way as some of the videos are, but I think it was still pretty interesting, and I think some of you will find it really interesting, and it might whet your appetite to do some more mystical reading yourselves. So all right, peace.